Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're stepping through a tunnel into one of the most beloved and honestly critically acclaimed films ever made, Hayao Miyazaki's Spirited Away, the 2001 animated masterpiece that won the Academy Award for Best Animated Feature and, well, still remains the highest-grossing film in Japanese history. Spirited Away, released in 2001. Produced by Studio Ghibli, this $19 million production became a global phenomenon, introducing audiences all over the world to Miyazaki's, unparalleled imagination and emotional depth. Whether you're here for the breathtaking animation, the unforgettable characters, or maybe you're just wondering why a movie about a girl whose parents turn into pigs is considered one of the greatest films of all time, this video will break down everything. Stick around to the end. What makes Spirited Away endure as a cultural touchstone 2 decades later? Chihiro Ogino is introduced as a sullen 10-year-old girl moving to a new town clutching a bouquet of flowers from friends she's leaving behind. From the first scene, we get a sense of her personality. She's whiny, fearful, and utterly unremarkable. A normal child in every way. Her parents take a wrong turn on the drive to their new home, discovering a mysterious tunnel that leads to what appears to be an abandoned theme park. From the first scene, we get a sense of her personality. She's whiny, fearful, and utterly unremarkable, a normal child in every way. Her parents take a wrong turn on the drive to their new home, discovering a mysterious tunnel that leads to what appears to be an abandoned theme park. The film quickly establishes stakes through its inciting incident. Chihiro's parents discover a restaurant filled with food and begin eating greedily. As twilight falls, Chihiro finds them transformed into pigs, their greed literally making them livestock. Alone and terrified, Chihiro begins to fade from existence. So, a boy named Haku finds her and, he gives her a piece of food to ground her in the spirit world. He goes on to explain the rules. To survive, she has to get a job from Yubaba, the witch who runs the bathhouse where spirits come to rest. By the end of this introduction, we already understand the impossible situation. Here's a girl who's lost her parents, her name, and her world, forced to navigate a realm of gods and monsters where the only way home is through labor and courage she doesn't even know she has. The relationships in Spirited Away, they really form the emotional architecture of Chihiro's journey from a scared child to a resourceful young woman. Her interactions with Haku, in particular, reveal a bond built on memory and, mutual rescue. Haku is a river spirit who has forgotten his true name, bound to Yubaba's service. He finds Chihiro not by chance, but because he remembers her. She fell into the Kohaku River as a child and was saved by him. Their relationship is the film's romantic core, though it's a romance of childhood memory and self-discovery, rather than, conventional love. Yubaba, voiced with magnificent imperiousness by Mari Natsuki in Japanese and Suzanne Plachette in English, is the film's antagonist, but not really its villain. She runs the bathhouse as a business, exploiting her workers, but at the same time providing them with shelter. Her twin sister, Zeniba, offers the film's counterpoint, kindness without strings attached. Supporting characters like Lin, who becomes Chihiro's first friend in the bathhouse, and Kamaji, the boiler man who runs the furnace, really represent the community that Chihiro must earn her place within. The no-face creature is, honestly, the film's most complex relationship, a lonely spirit who mirrors whoever he consumes, and in doing so, reflects Chihiro's own struggle to maintain her identity in such a strange world. As the plot unfolds, Chihiro faces escalating challenges that transform her from a terrified outsider to the bathhouse's unlikely hero. One key event is her arrival at the boiler room. Kamaji, the spider-like boiler man, at first refuses to hire her, but when Lin brings her to Yubaba's office, Chihiro has to stand her ground against the witch's terrifying presence, demanding work even after Yubaba tries to intimidate her. This whole sequence really establishes Chihiro's core character. She's afraid, but she doesn't break. So, first up is her arrival at the boiler room. Kamaji, who's this spider-like boiler man, at first totally refuses to hire her. But when Lin brings her to Yubaba's office, Chihiro really has to stand her ground against the witch's terrifying presence. She demands work, even after Yubaba tries to intimidate her. Then comes one of the film's most famous set pieces, the arrival of the stink spirit. It's this monstrous, rotting entity that just oozes filth through the bathhouse, and Chihiro gets assigned to clean it. With a lot of courage and a bit of clever thinking, she discovers a bicycle stuck inside the creature's body, and with the help of the other workers, they all pull it free, revealing that the stink spirit is actually a river god, now purified and grateful. The whole sequence is both slapstick and sublime, honestly, a meditation on pollution and healing that ends up rewarding Chihiro with a magical emetic dumpling. The filmmakers, use pacing masterfully here. Director Hayao Miyazaki and cinematographer Atsushi Okui managed to create a world that feels both ancient and immediate. The bathhouse itself draws from traditional Japanese architecture, but it's just pulsing with modern energy. The visual storytelling is so precise that the film barely needs any exposition. We just understand the world through Chihiro's eyes. The sequence where Haku, wounded and dying, crashes through the bathhouse ceiling, pursued by these paper shikigami, really raises the stakes to life or death. Chihiro's journey to Zeniba's house to return a stolen seal, boarding a one-way train with No Face as her only companion, is honestly the film's quietest and most emotionally profound sequence. The train just glides over water, with silhouettes of passengers boarding and leaving, and it's this sort of meditation on impermanence that never stops to explain itself. Spirited Away isn't just a fantasy adventure, it's a film that wrestles with identity, consumerism, and the transition from childhood to adulthood. One of the most prominent themes is the loss and recovery of self. Yubaba steals names, Chihiro becomes Sen, and Haku has forgotten his entirely. The film argues that identity is something we must hold on to, even when the world tries to rename us. Chihiro's ability to remember Haku's true name, the Kohaku River, saves him, just as her refusal to forget her own name saves her. Another theme, the spiritual cost of greed and consumption, runs through every frame. Chihiro's parents become pigs because they eat without permission, consuming without gratitude. No Face consumes everything, food, people, but remains empty until Chihiro offers him something genuine. The film presents capitalism's excess as spiritual starvation. The bathhouse workers are exploited, their names taken, their identities subsumed. The film also explores the necessity of work and community. Unlike many fairy tales where the hero is special by birthright, Chihiro succeeds through labor. She cleans, she serves, she earns her place. The bathhouse is exploitative, but it's also a community where Chihiro finds allies. Lin and Kamaji don't help her because she's chosen. They help because she proves herself. Critics have noted the film's engagement with Japan's lost decade of economic stagnation, the bathhouse representing a bubble-era excess that must be worked through rather than escaped. Miyazaki himself said the film was made for 10-year-old girls, but its themes resonate across ages. As Roger Ebert wrote, Spirited Away is a movie that works on every level, as a children's film, as a work of art, as a meditation on identity and meaning. Some fascinating details behind Spirited Away make the experience even richer. The film began as a project to entertain the daughters of Miyazaki's friends, aged 10, the same age as Chihiro. Miyazaki had read that 10-year-old girls lose interest in things quickly, so he wanted to give them a story that would stay with them. The bathhouse is inspired by several real locations. Miyazaki drew from the Dogo Onsen in Matsuyama, the Edo Tokyo Open Air Architectural Museum, and the Seiyokan building in Ginza. The film's cultural references run deep. Yubaba and Zeniba's house draws on European architecture, while the bathhouse itself represents a Japan trying to preserve tradition amid modernization. The production employed 150 animators, including a young Makoto Shinkai, who would go on to direct Your Name, with round-the-clock workdays in the final weeks. Miyazaki drew many scenes himself, refusing to let the artistry be compromised. The film was released in Japan on July 20, 2001, and became the highest-grossing film in Japanese history, surpassing Titanic. Fun bit of trivia: the English dub, produced by Disney, features an exceptional cast, including Dave Chase as Chihiro, Jason Marsden as Haku, Suzanne Plachette as Yubaba, and John Ratzenberger as a guest. Miyazaki personally approved every voice actor. The film won the Academy Award for Best Animated Feature in 2003, the first non-English film to do so, and, yeah, it remains the only hand-drawn film to ever win the award. As the story reaches its emotional climax, Chihiro returns from Zeniba's house to find Haku waiting. Yubaba sets her final test. Chihiro must identify her parents among a row of pigs. If she chooses correctly, they'll all be free. If she chooses wrong, she remains in the spirit world forever. The key moment arrives not with a guess, but with certainty. Chihiro looks at the pigs and says, "None of them are my parents." It's not a test of memory, it's a test of her growth. The Chihiro who arrived at the bathhouse would have guessed desperately. This Chihiro knows who she is, knows her parents, and knows that nothing Yubaba can throw at her will make her forget either. Yubaba, defeated but not humiliated, tears up the contract. Haku escorts Chihiro and her parents to the tunnel. At the entrance, he tells her, "Go now and don't look back." She walks through, and when she turns, the tunnel is empty. Her parents are waiting in the car, remembering nothing, but Chihiro's hairband, a gift from Zeniba, catches the light. The filmmakers intended these final moments to leave a lasting impression. Some journeys transform us, even when the world can't see the change. Chihiro returns unchanged to the outside, but we know she's different, and the hairband proves it was all real. In conclusion, Spirited Away delivers a cinematic experience that really transcends animation. Hayao Miyazaki's masterpiece is visually breathtaking, emotionally profound, and thematically rich. A film that rewards every viewing with new discoveries. From the train over water to No-Face's silent journey, from the purification of the river spirit to Chihiro's final certainty, it's a work of art that reminds us what cinema can achieve. If you enjoyed this breakdown, drop a comment with your thoughts. What's your favorite scene, and how many times have you visited the bathhouse? Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more movie reviews, deep dives, and behind-the-scenes insights. Thanks for watching, and remember who you are.